Okay, so today is day 58 of being housed. Today is Sunday, October the 12th, and it's rather chilly out this morning. I'm actually wearing my shorts though. I got a sweater on. There's a light sweater, but I'm wearing my shorts. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stop and have a tea and do a little like a little brain teaser, and then a tea with honey, by the way. And then I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do a really vigorous chest workout. Well, sorry. First and foremost, we're going to walk and we're going to talk for a little bit and have a nice conversation. Then I'll get the tea, then the chest workout, and then oh goodness, I'm getting behind in uploading these videos to YouTube, and there's quite a bit of things I can do before my friend picks me up for church. And then after church, I'll be going to my parents' house, and we're having Thanksgiving dinner. So anyways, it's going to be a full day. And then tomorrow, well, anyways, we're talking about tomorrow. But I awoke this morning, oh goodness, and it's just like yesterday. I spent time in God's presence, and I love meditating on on the Word of God, and I just I have to be honest with myself. There's certain things that I'm not pleased with in my life in this moment, certain things that I could be much more accountable and responsible for. And last night was the night when the Holy Spirit convicted me about the owner's mother, and her, I would say it's more or less like she just complains about, she's complaining about the finances and, her finances, and, but amongst other things, like there's so many things that and I don't mean this to be rude about her at all. Like, I just mean this to be completely honest, but she constantly complains one thing after the other, and she's very angry and embittered when she's complaining. So there's a major learning lesson here. First and foremost, as a child of God, I have no room to complain about anything. God has been good. God has been faithful. And if I say I trust him, well, then there's nothing to complain about. He's always working everything out, and I need to have ears to hear, first and foremost, what he's saying, and then just act in obedience, regardless of what I think about what he's saying or what I think he's saying. I just hear what he says, and I'll just do it and and act in obedience. But anyhow, but when you're complaining, it's very difficult. Like, complaints are goodness, they're a terrible form of communication, because it's similar to somebody, like, being hit in the knee and potentially having like a broken is your tibia, I think, is your shin bone. I think your femur is the big bone. But anyways, if you begin like moaning, and this guy's coming in quick. There we go. I'm across the road. Oof. Usually people don't drive that fast down this road. Okay, I'm over here. But if you, like, I find complaints are similar to that. Like, there's clearly a hurt. There's clearly something that's taken place. There's clearly something that needs to be tended to. But if you're just like saying, it hurts, all you're communicating is the expression of the pain that you're feeling. I find complaints are very similar to that. It's like you're communicating an expression of, unresolved issues, an expression of, oh goodness, how else would I word this? Things in your life and things in your heart that maybe you're addicted to. And I'll qualify these by adding a qualifier so it makes sense. But so, like, by that I mean, if somebody constantly complains, goodness, I can't, I hate smoking, goodness, it prolongs my colds, I hate smoking, I got this really bad nagging cough, and I know it's tied into the cigarettes, and I just always feel really, really drained. Well, they're just communicating that they they have an addiction, but they're not communicating, like they're not asking for help, and they're not revealing that they're struggling, like they can't seem to break this addiction. Same thing with somebody that says, oh goodness, I want like a really good, I want a wife. Oh goodness, I'm so lonely. Oh goodness. Well, they're expressing that loneliness. They're expressing discontent, but they're not saying, I need help. Oh, could you help me in this area? Oh, can I discuss this with you? I'm experiencing this loneliness, and I'm feeling like, marriage is the best thing to do. I'm feeling like I'm really possessive and clingy on the people that are around me, and I know it's pushing them away, but I don't know how to stop it, and I get really angry with them because they're not picking up on the cues that I'm lonely, and I just, when I act out in frustration, or when I act out in this way or that way, it's because I'm lonely. They're not expressing those things. They're just complaining about, or expressing the loneliness through a different channel, without properly communicating it. And lastly, too, with addictions, I would even put like somebody that says, "Oh goodness, I feel like I have like a purposeless life. Oh goodness, I feel like I don't have any. There's like every day is just, I wake up and I'm unfulfilled. I'm unhappy, and I got no purpose." Well, there's something they're expressing, but they're complaining, or sorry, they're expressing that, their life is lacking purpose, instead of communicating and saying, you know what, my life seems to lack purpose, and I'm going to leave everything, and, I'm going to be accountable for the way that I'm feeling, and my thoughts, and my life in general. And there's a lot of things that I'm tied to that I just don't want to let go of, because I'm afraid if I let go of them, I'll never get them back. If I let go of these friendships, I'll never get them back. And I'm afraid to let go of them, but I'm also afraid that if I hold on to them, this feeling is going to continually grow and grow and grow, and it's been perpetual, so there at least me no reason to believe that it won't continue to be perpetual. And instead of communicating like that's proper communication, you're talking about like the root or the source of the way you're feeling, as opposed to just expressing, any sorrow or any pain from what you're feeling. And I find for myself right now, there's a few things that not just need to, but they will be changed. And they first change in my mind, and then when I make up my mind to do something, I stick with it. And please pardon me if it seems like I just went off on a tangent. I didn't do that deliberately. As I was talking about the complaining being an expression of different things. Oh, I was going to say, I've already forgotten like where I was going with that. That's what it was. 1 second. Okay. So it can be an expression of addictions, most certainly. So those are examples of addictions, but it can also be an expression of fears and anxieties. When somebody's saying, I just don't think there's any good men or good women out there, but I desire to be married, but I don't think there's any good men or good women out there. That complaint is just expressing that fear that because of like their history, they're going to get in a relationship, they're going to think this is the one, and then all of a sudden they're going to realize, just like all the others, it wasn't, they aren't the one, and then the same pattern is going to continue, and they're left dejected, vapid, and faded, virtually deflated, I think is a really good word. So instead of looking to improve their life, instead of looking to understand and reveal their responsibility for making those choices and the red flags or the lapses of maturation, or we'll just say, if you're coming into a business with somebody, if you want to have a successful business, you have to have a successful business mind. If you don't have a successful business mind, you're going to say, I want a successful business. But if you're the one at the helm, you're the one that's going to drive it into into the ground, because it's all to do with your mind. And if another person can achieve that business acumen mentality, or the successful business mind, then there's no reason why you can't. There's just a path that person took that is very, very strict, very, very arduous, it will cost them everything, but they were willing to pay the toll, and they're willing to put in the time and all the hard work and to stick with it and not give up. And I find many people will just say, or many personalities will just say like that, will just simply say, I would do it, but this person, oh, they're smarter than I am. Or this person, oh, they come from a better family than I do. Oh, this person, this and that. So there's always, I find with a complaint, there's always a problem that they put up or they propose to every solution that's revealed. And so then that cycle goes over and over again. Instead of them saying, this is what I say I want, well, then I'm going to dedicate everything to it, and failure's not an option. I will achieve that one day. That's the proper, to me, that's the proper approach. Otherwise, what's the point of complaining about it? I find the worst thing about complaining is it drags other people into a murkiness that exists inside of you. And yesterday when I was walking, I was talking about that, about the murkiness, and how and I was talking about in relation to where I'm at, and this has been throughout your pay close attention. This is something everybody can identify with, but whenever somebody lies, and they might unfortunately in their mind use another lie to propagate this lie, but what they're saying is, it's only a white liar. Oh, it's just I just changed one slight detail. Well, that means you've manipulated and augmented reality. If you did that in the court of law, that would be called tampering with evidence, and I think that'd be called obstruction of justice. It's a major, major offense. If you do that to another person, what that means you're doing is you're putting up an illusion, which means you're giving them a false reality, but telling them it's the actuality of what took place. That's deception at its purest form. When you read in the Holy Scriptures, it talks about the prince of this world, the prince of the air, being the father of all lies. And Jesus talks about, and in the Holy Scriptures it talks about the final judgment for all the demons. So every demon is birthed in the kingdom where lies are the foundation. Everything that's done in that kingdom is built and predicated off a lie. So it's a slant, and it creates crooked paths. And there is hell. There's eternal hell and damnation. It was created for the fallen angels, but every human whose name is not written in the Lamb's Book of Life, that's where they go to as well. And I think about this last night, how if somebody omits a little bit of information because they want to placate somebody, or because they just figure, oh goodness, if I say the truth, then they're probably going to get upset, then I could lose this and lose that. So it's always about their self-interest. It's always about manipulation. Manipulation is actually just lies. It's slanting reality in order to ensure that you get what you feel you need, and you're convinced that if you don't do this, well, then it'll never come to pass. But that's just what you're convinced of. That doesn't mean it's the actuality or the reality of the situation. But anyways, but I was thinking about that last night, how I've just been very transparent. There's been a few issues that have come up, and we talked about them, and we talked about them openly, and the owner said one thing, and then it still became an issue. It was still an issue. I think it still might be an issue. Oh my goodness. And all this time later, it's like having a leech stuck to you. It drains you. It's like taps into your life force. It taps into your blood. It drains you, and it occupies so much of your time. And so then you're no longer able to move forward to productive things to better your life, because you're constantly trying to unravel and make sense of things that actually take away from your life. Things that could have been cleared up and resolved if honesty was only heralded or put at the forefront. And that's what every single person is like when they're down and out, is going to say, oh my goodness, I just desire honesty. But then why isn't everybody very honest? And first and foremost, honest about their intent. And if there's any incongruencies between their intent and their words and their actions, then or their intent and their actions, then why aren't these things being talked about? And why aren't people asking for help and trying to figure out how to get better? That'd be my question. But anyways, I was talking about this last night in the video that I made after the hockey game, and I just said how, when there's nothing but truth, everything is transparent, and then so you can look in it. It could even be like something very unpleasant. Somebody might hate you, and their intent is, I just don't like you for no other reason than I didn't even know why I don't like you, but this is why I attack you. Then you can see it transparently, and then you're able just to deal with it. You're able to adjust to it. You're able to resolve it or consolidate it in your mind, and you're able to make like decisions based off the actuality what's taking place. But when lies are injected, I was saying how it goes from transparency to translucence. And I was thinking about like, it's the same thing with like purity. If you have like pure water that's to be drunk or to be drank, that's really nourishing to your soul, it's pure, which means it's completely 100% free of contaminants. But then the moment you add even a trace of contaminants, it is now no longer worthy to be called pure. Like, completely not. Not if you add 25%, so it changes the complexion of the water, it changes the smell of the water, so you're able to perceive it, visually, or you're able to perceive it through your sense of smell, or you're able to perceive it through your sense of taste. The moment it has been altered, even just a little bit, it's contaminated. And I was saying, then it just becomes like a little more murky, and it's a gradient or gradient of murkiness. So it's oh goodness, it is nuanced. It goes in different shades, and the more contaminants you put in it, the more murky it becomes. So the more difficult it is to see what is beneath the surface, and then it can become, oh goodness, like it becomes translucent. But then if you keep adding contaminants, it'll reach a certain threshold where it becomes so murky that you can't even see. If you put your hand in and say you have a ring on your finger, the moment the ring goes under the water, there's no longer that depth where you can still see it, and it grows fainter and fainter and fainter. It's just you can't see it at all. And then you could say that it's opaque. And so anyway, so I find it's the same thing like with lies. And when people omit the truth, that's because they're trying to alter reality. If you alter reality, that in fact, when you augment reality, is injecting a lie. And regardless of whether people want to agree with it or not agree with it, that just reveals like the things that they're able to access in their heart and what's going on in their heart. So anyways, so the things in my life that it's not that I want to change, I will change, is I'm falling prey to first and foremost, there's many folks around me that break promises all the time, and I need to believe their actions, and I will believe their actions. And if I'm going to walk, and I desire to, and I will walk in the kingdom of God, well, then I don't want to keep, I don't want to have any place for liars to be around me. I can love, like, my biggest struggle is I love people. I really, really do. And I love to see the good in people. But the wise thing to do is to see the way people truly are from their actions. And I don't mean that when I say liars, like that might sound like I'm trying to be really cruel or really this, really that. I just mean people that make promises and they break promises. And they're not accountable. They won't come back to you and say, "Oh goodness, God convicted me. I broke this promise. Would you please forgive me?" And then, you can have that relationship restored. And that's wonderful. People can make mistakes. I'm just saying when they do this over and over again, but they also team it up with anger and hate behind their eyes. So, a lot of the promises that they break, it's not because they're unable to keep those promises. It's because they've identified you as somebody who's not worthy to keep a promise with, or they've identified you as somebody that they're angry with, and this is just one of the many ways or one of the many weapons that they have to punish you. And they need to learn that lesson, that this is incorrect. They already know enough to know this lesson, they already know enough about this to know it's incorrect, because first and foremost, they're only going to do it to select people, which means it is premeditated. It is something that is already thought out in their mind. There's a deep level of deliberation. But also too, if somebody does it to them, which I'm positive everybody's had these things done to them, they'll get very angry and they'll say, I won't tolerate being lied to. I won't tolerate being, talked down to. I won't tolerate, if somebody looks down their nose at me, I won't tolerate that. I won't tolerate that. But here's the truth. And praise God, the Spirit of truth revealed this to me a long time ago. And this is the foundation to everything that I have in my heart and in my life. But the Spirit of truth revealed to me, when I used to say this many years ago, I realized the truth in what I'm saying, or the truth in what I'm believing, is actually not the truth in what I'm saying. What I'm saying, the truth in what I'm believing, is actually obscured. It's almost like all the way to the point of being opaque. There's no transparency in my heart. The truth in what I'm saying is, I hate lies. I hate being manipulated. Oh goodness, I hate when people try to dominate me, and I hate when people break promises. I hate all these things, and that's not right. And I won't tolerate these things. Okay. However, if I lie, or if I manipulate, or if I try to dominate, or if I, look down my nose at somebody else, I have a list of reasons why that's okay, because I was hurt in the past, and those become my justifications. So virtually, I hate when it's done to me, and I won't tolerate that, and I'll complain about it, and I'll get very angry about it. But if I do it to others, I want mercy. And I'm just human. I just make mistakes, and so I had two different standards virtually. That's completely and utterly partial. And partiality is I think of like a teeter-totter, and I think you can see my hands here. Where are we? There I am. Okay, let's go over here. There I am. Okay, you think of a teeter-totter, and I think of like a triangle right here. Doop, doop, doop. And you have like the stick. You have the stick. Where one person sits here, one person sits here. But here's the triangle. Doop, doop, doop. The triangle creates partiality. So one person goes zoop, and then looks up the other person. So you have an idol here, and you have somebody who's raised up. So they are superior, and then this person, whoops, there we go, is inferior. And then all of a sudden this person does something, and they think, alas, doo-doo-doo, peradventure, you have, lost that place in my mind. And then they go down, doop, and then now the stick goes up. That's not the technical term for it, by the way, just saying. Okay, then this person up here is now like, okay, now I'm in a position of superiority and you're inferior. So partiality creates this. It creates the constant shifting of power dynamics. Whereas versus like this. Oh, where's my finger? Where's my shadow? Where's my shadow? There it is. Okay, same thing. Here's the stick. Now you tilt the stick. So here, we'll just use this line. So it's straight and it's even like this line. And then that's it. Then maybe you just like your foundation is just beneath it. Oh, all the way over here and then up. Okay. And then one person sits here, the other person's here, and they look eye to eye. And so there's never a power dynamic shift. It's never about, you never need to manipulate because there's nothing, no ground that you're ever trying to make up. And there's no, like, you're not trying to gain anything from the other person. You're just trying to live in actuality and live in peace with the people around you. You're going out of your way to live in peace with the people around you. If you've made a mistake and you've accidentally done something, then you're like, oh goodness, I am so sorry I made that mistake. Would you please forgive me? And then you return what you've taken, or you say, when I said this, I guess that came across worse than what I meant it. What I meant was this and this. Or when I said this, you're correct. I was saying this because I'm angry at you because this and this and this and this happened in the past, and I'm unwilling to let it go. But if I'm unwilling to let it go, that means I'm unwilling to allow the relationship to change, and I'm unwilling to move forward in our relationship. So it's either then I need to be accountable and just be severed from you completely, or I need to be accountable and accept that you've changed and accept that, the things that happened to me in the past, I have to get forgiveness from those things. Otherwise, I'm just a prisoner. They might have happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, but I'm still imprisoned by them, and I'm imprisoned in bitterness. I'm being tormented all the time, and it is prohibiting me from moving forward with my life. It's prohibiting me from finding any joy in anything that I do. It's prohibiting me from finding any purpose. I am literally enslaved in a spiritual realm. And and if I ask God to forgive me for all the things that it would be impossible for me to pay him back, impossible, I wouldn't even know how to repay him, and I receive his mercy, then how dare I prohibit dispensing that mercy onto somebody else? That reveals not only partiality, but that reveals like a heart that is looking like to dominate others, and the heart that looks to dominate and inferior and have like a group that they've collected and they've made themselves superior to, is also going to, on the other side, find another group that has selected them, that has made them inferior, and then they're complaining and say, oh, this is unjust, I want justice. But the justice actually comes about by removing that triangle that creates the partiality. And because while there's partiality, you're just going to keep going back and forth, the same problems over and over again. And 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later, nothing's changed except for the amount of gray hairs on your head. Anyways, I'm just going to get a tea here. We're going to continue talking about this. There's so much to talk about.